welcome to the Team Real World radio show on 107.3 FM.
WBRP.
My name is Maurice Velasquez.
I'm John Shirk.
And we are
Team Real World.
This radio show is where we discuss all things business, management, leadership, and team dynamics. And today, we're going to talk about sales.
That's right. Last week, we started talking about sales, and we're continuing that topic with sort of part 2 this week.
Our slogan is real problems, real solutions.
Really fun.
Really fun. Actually, in sales, it should be real sales, and real sales.
That's right.
Our website is www.teamrealworld.com. And our phone number is 225-772-4357. You can find us on Facebook. Simply type in Team Real World. Today we're going to have a really neat show. I think we're gonna have a lot of good time. We're not going to repeat ourselves about the part 1.
Yeah.
Actually, you realize this is the third radio show that we do on sales, so this is almost like part 3. You know? But that's all right. What we did the first show is we gave an overview. What we did the second show was we got into more of the granular, and now we're going to, I can't say close it off because there's still so much that we got to cover.
Yeah.
You know, last time we covered the prospecting, having your list. But today we're going to be covering probably what I would say my favorite part about sales.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How do you keep prospects? Because it's not clients. Because once that you have them, they're clients, right?
Right.
But it's the prospects. How do you keep prospects from misleading you? Telling you things that is not accurate. Some would say that they lie. Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't hate. Let's not say that in public.
Yeah, it's too harsh.
It's a harsh word. Let's just say, how do you keep prospects from misleading you, not telling you all the information?
So talk about that a little bit more, Maurice. So what does it look like, that misleading? What is, like, if a salesperson is being misled, what kind of things are being said?
All right, let me just give you the basic one. You, John, are going into the mall with your wife, right? And she's off buying something, and you walk into a store. What would be the store that you walk into?
Am I happy about it or not happy about it?
I don't care. Pick a store.
It would be my wife really likes costumes, so it would be a costume store.
It'd be a costume store. Right? So let's say you go to Party City, or so let's say that was in the mall, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so you're walking in. What are the chances that you're walking in and you probably are looking for something?
Might be. If we're going in, we're looking. It's just, I'm not sure we're going to buy anything, but there's stuff we're always kind of curious about.
So you see, you're with your wife shopping.
Yeah.
And you just happen to be bored because you hate going through all those other stores. So you happen to be going into this other store.
Right.
You don't have any intentions in buying, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But most people that walk into that store, right? Yeah. Are they in your same scenario, or are they really probably going in there to buy something?
Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on the store, but there's some people going in to buy stuff.
Right?
No question.
The vast majority.
Yeah. Otherwise, the store wouldn't be there very long.
and most people don't walk into stores just to not buy.
Right.
But yet, when they walk in and a rep from the company greets them and says, "Hi, can I help you with anything?" What do we all say?
Oh, no thanks. I'm just looking.
That is so misleading. That is so misleading. I think, like we said last time, we somehow went to this same class somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, where we all learn certain behaviors, right? Or either that or television's very effective. You know, somewhere along the lines, we all learn how to do these certain things that we do to each other. And that's one of the favorite ones. When you're a buyer, it is your preferred approach to tell the seller, nah, just calling around.
Yeah.
No. So not calling around, not just looking around.
Yeah, and I think there's this mindset from the buyer side of it. Like, if I'm straight with you up front, I'm putting myself out like a lamb to the slaughter.
Right. So when you go buy a car, you just happen to be looking around. No, you're shopping.
Right.
But what do you tell the seller?
I'm just kind of seeing what's here.
I'm just
kind of
looking
around.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I always ask sales reps, why would you even ask that question? If you know that buyers are going to lie to you or mislead you, don't ask certain questions. So one of the key challenges that we have in sales is, how do you keep buyers from misleading you?
So it's getting over that hump and getting to an honest response.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Then the second, because there's 4 major challenges. Number one is, how do you get the prospect to stop misleading you?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll meet you next week. Yeah, I'll look over the proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get you an answer. Sure, I'll have a PO for you next week. Oh, man, it's just, or hey, call me Monday.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Those are all misleading. Those are all misleading comments.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Those are all misleading comments. Now, listen, if you're a sales rep out there, or a sales manager, or a business owner, please hear us out. Those are all misleading comments. Okay, how do you get a prospect to stop doing that? You see what I'm saying? I mean, that's what we got to figure out.
Absolutely.
Because
it makes perfect sense.
If you don't get past that, your sales are going to plummet.
And if somebody isn't in sales themselves, everybody can understand that feeling of queasy in my stomach when a sales rep approaches me on some level and feeling like I'd better defend myself right now.
Of course, that's what we do.
Threat coming up.
Because whether we're actually wanting to buy or not, we like to be in a little more control.
Right.
Okay, so that's a good way. So there's a stall.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, how do you keep prospects from doing that? The second thing that sales reps regularly wrestle with is how do you get the prospect to stop taking your information and using it against you with your competition. Yeah. Of course, I know there's a lot of sales reps out there that are just totally foreign to this. They've never had this done to them. Okay, the buyer simply it's kind of like just a vacuum just sucks it right out of you. You know what I'm saying? It's just you just give all this information and you think that if I give all this information, that means we're connecting. You love me. Right. I love you. I trust you. You trust me. You're asking me all these questions. I'm giving you all these answers. I'm educating you. And you do the third step. You hide from me. Mm-hmm. So first of all, if you started off by misleading me, then as a buyer, you took my information and you said we were going to go somewhere with it. Now I can't find you. That's the third thing. How do you get prospects to stop hiding from you? Yep. Hey, call me. And then they act like, like what? I never said call me next week. Right? And first of all, they don't answer. Mm-hmm. So you chase them and you chase them and you chase them because they obviously went to hiding. Yeah. Right? And then when you finally find them, you finally get them on the phone, or you have to go sit out in the lobby. Right? And catch him on the elevator and get yourself arrested for trespassing or something. Okay, I am not recommending that, okay? But if you do it on your own, that was my disclaimer. We did not recommend that. All right? Yeah. So how do you that you know what the prospect does at that point when you finally smoke it out and you get them to finally stop hiding?
What do?
Okay? They mislead you again.
Oh, sorry, man. All over.
Sorry, man. I've been really busy.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Look, I had to go to Atlanta. Yeah. No, man, I'm sorry. Look, this changed. Yep. Hey, man, look, I'm sorry, but and there's always a reason. Yeah. And so then you go, okay, well, what do you want to do? And then they tell you something else, and you don't realize you're being misled all over again. Uh-huh. And then they ask you more questions, and you tell them, and you give them more information. They go, that's really good. Let's do this. Call me Friday.
I sure will.
Sure. Because now we're reconnecting, right? Yeah, good. Yeah. So you're not going to do this to me again? Oh, no, I would never do that to you because I was really serious. I was in Atlanta last week. Good. Then I call you Friday and...
Yeah. You've reached the voicemail of Joe DeJoco.
So then another email. Yep. Then another phone call. Yep. Then a week goes by, and you're calling and calling and calling. And then you finally find them again, okay? You see him at the bowling alley, or you see him at Putt-Putt or something. You go, hey, Harry, how are you? They say, oh, yeah. And they tell you another reason why they didn't get back with you, so they lie to you again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so then they tell you, hey, look, why don't we meet Tuesday?
Yeah. Yep.
They don't want to tell you no. Yeah. Okay? So how do you get past all that? Well, you guys need to tune in after the break.
That's right. All answers will be revealed after the break.
That's right. That's a pretty good one. If you're in sales and you have not learned how to spot this behavior, if you haven't learned how to address this behavior, if you haven't learned to do some things to help your buyer not use this behavior, then really you're stuck in this cycle of the buyer's approach to buying. And it's going to increase your sales cycle. And most sales reps are stuck in this pattern. And they always say, well, I got to build my prospect list. It's going to take a long time for me to build my pipeline.
Oh, no, we hear this in sales reps all the time.
And yes, if you're selling Boeing 747s or you're selling very long detail, yes, there's long sales cycles. But even if the sales cycle is supposed to be 6 months, if you don't catch this behavior, it'll become 9 months.
Oh, yeah.
We have to learn how to address it. So come back We'll address this on the back end of this segment, and we'll have a lot of fun with it.
That's right.
All right, you are listening to Team Real World Radio Show on Talk 107.3 FM.
WBRP.
And I'm looking for somebody come and help me carry this load. I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Hey, hey, well I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Well, I don't know if I'm walking on solid ground, cause everything around
Always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometime,
Welcome back
will you just smile?
to the Team Real World Radio Show, where we discuss real problems, real solutions, and we try to make it
Really fun.
Today we're talking about sales. Our website is www.teamrealworld.com. You're listening to Talk 107.3 FM.
On WBRP.
Our phone number is 225-772-4357. Find us on Facebook at Team Real World. All right, let's talk about sales.
Yes.
So I love that song. You can't get what you want, but you can't try to sell it.
That's right.
Yeah, always be closing.
Yes.
Always. Somebody said something to me. We recorded the last session 2 weeks ago, and they shared with me another ism. Because they heard us say always be closing, and they pointed out that another one of their favorites is in every call, in every pitch, a sale always happens.
Interesting.
Always. You're either selling the person on what is next to do next, or they're selling you the reason why it can't happen.
So it's like the salesperson's getting sold by the...
Exactly.
Interesting.
It's who's going to sell who on the next steps.
Interesting.
Very interesting concept. And there's just a lot of things that go on in a person's head.
Yeah.
Okay, it's in the sales. There's actually, we have a survey, one of our surveys. It's called it's a sales competency survey. It's got about 25 elements, outlooks, things that happen in your brain.
Yeah.
That sales reps need to have or don't have or not have in order to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Dealing with issues of money. If
Sure.
you're not accustomed to buying stuff expensive, then you can't really ask a lot of people with a confidence to buy something.
Yeah.
If you're the kind of person that shops around 20 times before you buy something, don't be surprised that you're going to let others do the same. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
There's a lot of things. So there's one that it's not an issue of rejection, but there is an element of feeling like you're being critical of the client or the buyer whenever you're saying stuff like, buyers tend to mislead or the buyers lie me. You know what I'm saying?
When someone is a relatively inexperienced sales rep, there's something this little trigger that goes off that says, I want to look at this person across from me and think of them as a good person.
Right, because I believe everyone's good.
Right. Well,
they would never lie to me.
And if I want to trust what they're saying to me, and I desperately want to trust what they're saying to me, then I need to see them as someone who's actually trustworthy.
Right.
And there's just a desire to see people as good people generally.
Right.
So if I think they're misleading me right now, it feels like I'm being sideways.
Yeah, I think we need to clarify that,
yeah.
because it's not an issue of whether I'm questioning their moral character.
Right.
It's just that as a seller, you need certain information. Are you interested in this?
Yeah.
It's either yes or no or somewhere in between. And buyers, for one reason or another, we're going to talk about those, they tend to not be straightforward for many reasons, but it's okay. I think what we're saying is that it's okay for you to, as a seller to realize that people mislead because there's some fear factors.
Sure. Well,
right?
I mean, it's not that you're sitting across from someone who's a natural born
liar. Right.
The issue is that they're doing what human beings normally do before they know if they can trust somebody.
It's an issue of trust.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
So there's reasons why the buyer does not come clean as to why they are looking or not looking, or even in this conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Let's talk about some of those trust issues.
Okay.
Can we call them fears?
Sure.
But think of yourself whenever, especially you work for a company and you've been instructed to buy a certain software program to roll out to 200 people. Okay. What if you make the wrong decision?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Ask yourself. Come on, everybody. Ask yourself. Let's turn this around. If you're a buyer, do sellers lie? Yes.
They don't lie. They just
They mislead.
They exaggerate.
Look, our website can do that. we've never had a seller tell us that, right?
That one's too close to home.
Or hey, the manual contract of all these manuals, you can have everything in our inventory.
Yep.
You invest in it almost. Wait.
But not that.
Not that. Or not,
Well, it's like that old joke when I don't know who told this first, but you see the sign that says we're open 24 hours and you go up, the door's locked, and they said, well, not in a row.
Right. Or whatever, the movie The Jerk, where he says, if you hit the bell at the top, you can choose anything in this rack. Well, below this and above this. Well, to the right of this, and eventually he squeezes it down to where you only get like a little matchbox.
Right.
Sales reps, they exaggerate, man.
Right.
Okay, so because buyers know that sellers exaggerate, they don't want to put themselves in a position to where their decisions are going to be out there unless I really trust this salesperson.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it's an issue of mutual trust.
Yep.
So I'm not going to sit here and tell you everything about me because I really want to know if you're telling me the truth about your products or services, because if I disclose everything, then all you're going to do is tell me, yeah, my product does that.
Yep.
I got to smoke this out.
Right.
I have to figure out whether this really is the truth or not. So it's a factor of it may not work out. And if it doesn't work out, what's going to happen to my career? What's going to happen to my job?
Exactly.
Am I going to lose my budget?
I'm spending this other person's money called the owner of this company.
Right.
So.
And let's not go to the nuclear bomb of getting fired. What if I'm actually buying carpet?
Yeah.
Okay. Or I'm buying decals for stores that I'm opening, and we do a grand opening and the decal installation is not done right. I mean, how much money will I have wasted?
Yeah.
How much programming will I have, what thrown down the drain? So there's real issues of trust.
Sure.
That's why the buyer tends to mislead. Okay? So they're not giving you all the information because there's fear and trust factors in the back end.
Yeah.
Okay? And what's interesting, you guys, if you're able to keep up as far as writing some things down, write this down. There's 4 things that normally buyers are withholding from you. Okay? As to what is it that they need so you can actually make a purchase.
Right.
Okay?
So if you're the sales rep, drilling down to this information is your gold mine.
Right.
That's
so
how
here
that's what you need.
the thing that buyers usually are not disclosing is their actual needs and their pains of why they're wanting or why they're even in the market.
Right.
Secondly, the timeline and their budget. How soon do they want to see things done in any budget?
Right.
Okay. The third one, and we're going to touch these a little more later on the back end of the radio show. The third one, it has to do with how we make decisions internally. This is one of my favorite ones because it's like, I'll sign it Friday, and you go ahead and sign it Friday only to find out they have to send it to purchasing.
Right.
Then from purchasing, they got to send it to the home office in Sweden. Then from Sweden, they got to send it to Australia. Then Australia sends it back. And 3 months later, but you never ask the question, how is it that you guys make decisions around here?
Right.
Then the fourth thing that buyers don't want to tell you is what do they want to see as the next steps?
Right.
So because the buyer doesn't trust as much as they should, because there's reasons, because the seller doesn't, they're also not disclosing, then they're going to withhold information on these key elements. And the seller is afraid to try to crack through that hard shell to get that stuff, and they usually don't know what questions to ask to be able to get that information. So it becomes a little bit of a cat and mouse thing, which is what delays things.
Right.
So first thing is realizing there's a trust factor, okay? And that trust factor is what's keeping you away from the information that you need from the buyer. That's why that's why they mislead you, okay? Now, why do they take your information and go somewhere else?
Oh, well, there's multiple reasons, but one big one is, can I get the same thing from somebody else
Exactly.
cheaper? Yeah.
Exactly, because they probably are within the window of shopping.
Yeah.
And a lot of sellers always think that because you're talking to me now, therefore, you're ready to close this right now.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm going to pitch it to you in such a way to where I'm trying to close something today when really they're shopping around, and I'm not willing to talk with you about the shopping mode that you're in.
Yeah.
I'm trying to close you when you really are sincerely looking, but I don't have the patience to have that discussion. So I'm going to try to close you a lot faster than prematurely because I'm not reading the signals.
Yep.
So therefore, you know what? I'm just going to get information out of the seller, out of the salesperson. I'm going to go shop around, but I'm not going to tell you that.
Well, on top of it, depending on how your documents look and the nature of the communication in print, the sales rep can make it very, very easy to take a document designed to close a deal and close it for somebody else.
Well, actually, really, that's what usually happens.
Yeah.
Is when salesperson number 1 comes in, salesperson number 2 comes in, and they educate the buyer.
Yep.
And usually the person that gets it is the last person that came in.
That's right.
So you always want to put yourself as the last one. So watch. How do you know if you're the last one?
I don't know. That's right.
So how do you know? Well, the thing is, you have to realize you may not be the last one.
Yeah.
So therefore, you have to keep a conversation in a level of trust where you have to assume you were the second one.
Yeah.
Okay, and you have to assume they're probably going to go look at 2 or 3 more and then put yourself back on the back end as the last one. So you have to take more of an advisory role rather than a sales rep. If your approach is more of a salesperson rather than an advisory expert, counsel, coach, mentor, then guaranteed they will go with somebody else. But when they realize you're willing to help them without supposedly, or how can I put you behind the wheels of this car today? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Then they're not going to want to talk. So we'll come back on the back end of this segment. Really good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Really good stuff. All right, you're listening to the Team Real World Radio Show on 107.3 FM.
WBRP.
Welcome to Team Real World. Man, I didn't want to start talking because I love hearing this song. And when I start talking, the music goes to... I am such a Beatles guy.
You are.
I am really a Beatles guy.
Yeah.
Man, all right, if Paul died, I'm the reincarnation. There you go. All right, so, but something happened in the translation. The looks didn't come with it.
Yeah.
Neither did his talent. Anyway, so welcome to Team Real World Radio Show on 107.3 FM.
WBRP.
All right, you're listening to the Team and Real World Radio Show. We're talking about sales.
Sales it is.
Oh, got to give our call numbers and everything. Phone number is 225-772-4357. I think I did say Talk 107.3 FM, right?
Yep,
yeah,
you did.
Yeah, call it as WBRP. I lost my track on my screen, man. I'm sorry. Our website, www.teamrealworld.com. And find us on Facebook. Simply type in Team Real World. All right, we're talking about sales.
That's right. So, Maurice, we talked about how once we're putting something in print, maybe a proposal or a bid of some kind, and the risk that's taken of that bid getting shopped around to other companies.
Which is what we're trying to avoid, right?
Exactly.
We're trying to avoid, yeah.
So how do we, so when we're at that point in the sales cycle, talk about how to get from that point to actually decision mode, even if what you're hearing is a no.
Sure.
How do you get to decision mode from shopping
Sure.
mode?
Okay. Whenever we do this workshop and we get to this point of the workshop, the looks that I get, the looks you get, because whenever you teach this, because whenever you do fundraising, you get the same looks.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, no, it can't be that simple.
Yeah.
No, it's just that it's hard. It's hard to do, okay? But it is not rocket science, okay? So the way you do this is you have to keep, there's 2 ways to do this, and you have to do both of them. And you have to do both of them consistently throughout the process. Number 1, you have to align on a regular basis with their personality and their decision-making style.
Very true. Very
okay?
true.
You are not going to be good in sales if you treat everybody from your own personality and your own decision-making style.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
Right.
One of my favorite real stories, and if you're out there, I'm sorry that I'm using your story, okay? It's a workshop, great guy. Love this guy, okay?
Yeah.
He heard, we were talking about this, and when he asked the question, well, what do I need to do? And we said personality. And we had already covered whether you're a D, whether you're an I, whether you're an S, whether you're a C. He was a high D individual. And so we explained that, look, your personality is only about 30% of the population out there. Okay? He said, well, I'm just going to look for those. So it's like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
I said, you will not make enough calls, and there's not enough people in this world for you to not align with the other personalities. He says, oh, no. Now that I know how to look for D's, I'm just going to hang up on the rest. So when they answer the phone like this, hi, this is Maurice. Why? He knows that person's not a D. I'm not a D. I'm not going to connect. See ya.
Well, that's one
Is
approach.
Is that
but,
not hilarious?
That's pretty funny.
All right, I talked to his wife about 3 months ago.
Yeah.
He's no longer in sales. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You have, whenever a person answers the phone, you have to be able to read their personality like instantaneously, John.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you got to know in the first 20 seconds whether you're talking to a D, whether you're talking to an I, whether you're talking to an S, or you're talking to a C. And you have to align your pitch. You have to align your neck, your 20-second elevators, okay? Let me just say this. Your 10-second, your 20-second introduction, if you do not pick up the right personality or come close, then you've already lost it.
Yeah.
Okay? So how can you pick up on personality differences? It's real simple. Okay? You just got to practice it.
Sure.
Ds answer a different way than non-Ds.
Yeah,
Okay? They usually answer like this. This is Harry.
That's right.
Or hello.
That's right.
And
Super fast and kind of
super fast. Yeah. It's like, hello. And you kind of go, hello?
Yeah.
What? Who is this? You've already lost this person.
That's right.
Why? Because they're so fast in their decision-making style, they've already left you behind.
That's right.
So you got to realize that you got to be ready to talk to a D as a D.
That's right.
That's why I encourage sales reps to listen to voicemails.
Mm-hmm.
So if you called Harry and Harry's voicemail answers, pick up the fact that Harry's letting you know in his voice message what personality he is.
That's right.
And Harry's probably, his voicemail message is going to be, this is Harry, you know what to do. Beep.
That's right. That's exactly right.
You did yourself a favor. If you're not willing to practice leaving a voicemail to a D, hang up.
Yeah.
And at least realize, oh, Harry's a D. You better practice your D approach, your D 20-second elevator speech, because now your 20-second elevator speech with a D just became an 8-second.
That's right. That's
You know what I'm saying?
exactly right.
All right. And so the other one's the I personality. Hi, this is Harry.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! I mean, they won't say woohoo, but you can hear him smiling.
Yeah.
So you better be ready to go, hey, Harry, how are you? I'm doing fine. Who's this? This is Maurice. Hey, Maurice, what's going on? Oh, man, how are you doing? Great.
Yep.
You got to be willing to keep that up for,
a few minutes.
Even if it's just 45 seconds.
Yeah.
So your 20-second elevator speech is probably not going to start until 40 seconds into it, and you got to be okay with that.
Yep.
And if you're a high D sales rep and you don't have the patience to do that, oh, man, you're walking away from money.
That's right. That I is going to say, this guy's no fun. I don't want to work with him.
I don't trust him. Why? Because he's just trying to shove something down my throat. Then you get into what I usually call the other side of the moon, okay? I didn't say the dark side of the moon, so don't get offended out there. I don't want to hear emails. If you do send an email, just email me about coming to the sales workshops, okay? All right, so the other side of the moon, okay? That's the S, the introverts, okay?
Yeah.
They usually answer the phone like this. Hi, this is Harry. Really soft, really friendly. You can kind of hear a smile. Hi, this is Harry.
Yeah.
And if you're a high D and you kind of bulldoze your way around, it's not going to go anywhere. You have to be willing to go, oh, hi, Harry, how are you? I'm doing fine. Who is this? This is Maurice. I'm with Team Real World. And you got to really soften the approach. Why? Because their decision-making is probably extremely refining mode, but it's got to be calm.
Right.
So they're going to be comfortable if they feel that you're going to approach things their way.
Yep.
And then the C's.
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
Is the ones where they answer the phone, said, Harry.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of go, whoa, was that a D or was that a C? I don't know. Just make it to the point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you have to be willing to align with them in their personality, even if it means speeding up when you're not used to it, slowing down when you're not used to it, being gregarious when you're not, but at least make an attempt at connecting at the personality level. That's how you get over trust. Trust is not about finding rapport, like walking in and saying, "Oh, I see you have a swordfish hanging in your wall. Hey, I love fishing too."
Yeah,
I
did that all the time.
I know. I did that one time, and the guy told me, "Dude, that's been on there like for 10 years. This was not my office. I just didn't have anything else to decorate with."
Right.
Okay. Or I went and a gal had a big old poster of the Princess and the Pea. Okay, and I said, "Oh yeah, I was to the Princess and the Pea. I love that show. I was trying to connect."
Yeah.
She said, "I hate it. We've been doing it like 45 times. I can't stand the thing." I'm like, great.
Oh yeah, I hate it too.
A story that another friend of mine told that he heard from a sales rep. Now take it for what it's worth. He says, "Oh look, I see that you got a picture of you and Madden. The football guy.
Oh
football
yeah,
coach.
Tom Madden. Yeah,
Tom Madden." And he goes, "That's my mother-in-law." Or what about the one from Tommy Boy, the commercial, when he's talking about that story, and he burns the car.
Yeah.
We need to play that clip. Sorry I didn't bring it. But anyway, all right, that, you have to be willing to build rapport, but not based on those superficial things.
Right.
Build rapport at the personality level.
So
Okay?
let's summarize those four again, just so everybody caught them.
Dominance, the D's.
There's D's who want to go fast. There's I's who want to be fun.
Gregarious and smiley, friendly, fast or friendly.
Yep. And there's S's who want to be calm. And there's C's who care about details.
That's right. So you got to be willing to adjust your style, and you have to have your 20-second elevator speech ready for your 4 different approaches. Exactly. You really almost have to have the whole conversation ready in 4 different styles.
Right.
If you're really serious about your business and you're really serious about your career, you got to be like a doctor. Not every leg you're going to amputate is the same.
Yeah.
Not every person you cut in is going to be the same.
Yeah.
So you have to adjust certain things based on the patient.
Yeah.
Right? Some things are very common across all patients, but hey, every house is not the same. You got to be willing to make adjustments. As a sales rep, you will excel so much more if you just simply align to personalities.
And remember what we're saying right now, or grasp the depth of what we're saying right now. This is the very step 1 point of someone deciding whether or not to trust you.
And whether they're going to tell you the things you need to know.
Exactly.
And if they don't trust you, they're not going to tell you the things that you're going to be you're going to be trying to find information they're not willing to tell you. All right, on the back end of the last segment we have, all right, we're going to cover the other way in which you can get past a lot of these obstacles, okay?
Right.
All right, so I'm not going to tell you what it is, but the first one was what? Personality alignment. Decision making is a tie to that. We're going to cover it on the back end of this show. So make sure you come back. You've been listening to the Team Real World Radio Show on Talk 107.3 FM.
WBRP.
Know when to fold up, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting. When the deal's done,
Welcome to the Team Real World Radio Show on 107.3 FM.
WBRP.
My name is Maurice Velasquez.
I'm John Shirk.
And I'm acting like this we're at the beginning of the show. I read the wrong script. I'm just not good at this, John. I'm just not good at it. See, I'm already off script and everything. Let's see. Our website's www.teamrealworld.com. And you can find us on Facebook. Just look up Team Real World. All right. Did I forget anything else?
Nope.
That's just pretty good. Yeah. I have the script right here. It's just... Gosh, I don't see how you put up with me. All right. Because you're a very patient C, that's what it is. All right, no. All right, so we're going to continue talking about sales. All right, so where were we?
We talked about aligning with personality as the beginning of trust building. And then we also said we should talk about decision-making styles.
Yes, it goes along. It goes along with that because, see, everybody has a personality style, okay? But along with that personality style, everybody uses a different style for making decisions.
Right.
Okay. Some people are very fast at making decisions. Some people are very slow about making decisions, but it's the slow one that catches sales reps by surprise.
Yeah.
Slow is not negative. But a lot of sales reps assume it to be. So some people slow it down because they don't want to make a purchase.
Yeah.
Okay. Some people slow it down because they're trying to confirm whether they want to make that purchase with you.
Yeah.
So if you're not patient enough to recognize and really figure out whether you're really being stalled or whether you really are in the process of helping them make a decision, you're going to probably short sheet your sales if you're trying to rush it too much.
Yeah, true.
And so just keep in mind, whenever you're talking to humans, any humans, about anything, whether you're trying to sell them on a product or you're trying to sell them an idea down the hall, okay, humans tend to process things differently.
Right.
And so some folks can process quickly and move to, yes, let's do that. In other words, they're ready to make the decision or they're willing to take the risk.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there's those that, you know what, I'm not really sure, but I'm not going to tell you no. So I'm going to say, that sounds really great. And so you think they really are interested when no, they just don't know how to tell you no.
Yeah. Oh, I've been there. I've been there.
It happens so
Yes.
much.
And when you're the sales rep, especially if you haven't been doing it for a long time, you so want to hear somebody say,
Right.
"Where do I sign? Let's get started."
Right. And unfortunately, the high eyes and the personality scenario, they're the ones who tend to be like that.
Yeah.
And so they're willing to talk to you for an hour, a week later, another hour, but they're not going anywhere with it. Why? Because
Right.
they really aren't in the buying mode.
Right.
But then the other side is those folks that they are wanting to stall it, but not because they're trying to put you off. They just need to process, and they need to gather information, and they really they prefer a slower style. Or this is what may be happening. I'm finding out from a lot of clients from a lot of our clients who are working with in sales, is that a lot of what I'm hearing back from is that a lot of their prospects are actually starting the conversation way early. So they may not be ready to purchase in May, but they'll talk to you in May because they know they're going to make a decision in August, and they know that their boss is a slow decision maker, so they're wanting to have the conversation early, but they're not going to tell you, Mr. Buyer, that it's my boss that's slow because I'm not going to throw my boss under the you see what I'm saying?
Yep,
Which
sure
goes
do.
back to the issue of the internal decision making.
Yeah.
So you have to pick up on the fact whether the person, the buyer that you're talking to, is trying to stall because they really don't want to purchase, or whether they're trying to stall because they're gathering information, or whether you really have somebody that's ready to make a move. I tell you what, a lot of sales reps miss that when a buyer is trying to buy and they're ready to buy, the sales rep slows down.
Yeah.
They don't read the buying signals.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to read.
I
you have to
remember a
read
deal
those
we
th-
tried to
very well.
make that Maurice and I tried to make a couple
yeah.
years ago, and we thought,
John, 24 months ago.
yeah, 24 months.
24 months ago this month.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we thought we could take what was sort of a solid deal and turn it into a monster huge
Yeah,
deal.
but they were ready to close.
But
they were ready to close at 30,000.
Yeah, where do we sign?
We wanted
$500,000.
$500,000. 200,000. So they were ready to close at 30.
Yep.
I mean, and they gave us all the signals, and you and I didn't read it well.
Yeah, and we
You
said,
know?
well, we could
I know.
do
and,
X.
and they walked away because we oversold it. We didn't close it when we should have.
Yep.
And we're kind of joking about it now because we got a call 24 months later. They want to talk to us next week.
Yep.
So they weren't ready to do it back then. Now, how many times did we stay in contact with them between 2 years
my
ago
gosh.
and when they called?
Literally by telephone, probably 150
That's right.
times.
That's where you got to be persistent. You got to really want people's business. Now, would we do that with anybody? No, we wouldn't do that with a shop of 4 people. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not a market. So you have to.
Yeah.
We can get into prospecting. We can get into that in another session. But what we're talking about is the decision making process.
Right.
Okay. You have to be able to recognize the decision making process. Otherwise, you're just either not going to close fast enough when they're asking you to close, or you're not going to let folks process it as they should.
Now, remember, when we talk about D's and S's, that what really the time frame for a D, what they love is now and moving fast. And what S's really love is staying calm and having lead time. And what that means is if you're working with an S in a buying cycle, they'll just create lead time for themselves.
Right.
And that's what stretches some of this out. They may know everything they need to know, but they just need a little time to feel like they're comfortable with that decision.
So the question around this time that we often get is how do you get past all that?
Right.
Okay. All right. So we said personality alignment is the one way, and that comes with decision making style. Here's the second way. All right. You have to move the conversation along and the relationship along to the next step in a series of negotiated agreements.
Oh, I love those 2 words, Maurice.
I know that's how professionals prefer to deal with other professionals.
That's right. For your listeners.
Well, let's say this. Adults like to deal better with adults when there's negotiated agreements.
That's exactly
When I
right.
know what's going to happen and you tell me what's going to happen and I say yes to that, the chances are that I'm actually going to walk you through that process.
Yep.
But sales reps are not willing to tell the client what's going on, and they wonder why the client doesn't trust them.
Right.
So the way to get past, the way to help the buyer trust you more is aligned through personalities, aligned through decision-making, but inform them of the process from the very beginning. So, for example, you pick up the phone and you call a prospect, right? And they answer, "Hi, this is Johnny, all right, or this is Mary." Let's just go with their hi because that's mine.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
Hi, this is Mary. Oh, hi, Mary. How are you? You know, and then they're going to ask a question. Who's this? Okay. Most sales reps don't want to disclose that. As opposed to saying, hi, my name is Maurice. I'm calling you from a company called Team Real World. And yes, this is a sales call. I wanted to call you and talk to you about your training, consulting, your computer training needs.
Yeah.
See if I could take 2 minutes of your time. And if in those 2 minutes, I could ask you if you're interested in any of what we talked about, we can meet for about 30, 45 minutes sometime in the next couple of weeks. And then do the magical thing of what?
Say nothing.
Shut up.
That's right.
Don't say anything.
Yep.
So what I just showed you right there was a 20-second elevator speech. But it's a negotiated agreement. I'm letting you know who I am. I'm letting you know who my company is. I'm asking you if I can take the next 2 to 3 minutes to talk about 2 or 3 features that I just told you we do.
Yep.
Because what I want out of this is for you to tell me that if you're interested, I want to set up a 30 to 45 minutes, sometimes I'll say 45 minutes to an hour, meeting with you sometime in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I just offered you an agreement to say yes or no.
Yep.
If you say yes, I'm going to go to the next step. And I'm going to stay on the phone and talk with you for 2 to 3 minutes. And then the next step after that is what? Set up the meeting.
Right.
So when we set up the meeting, it'll be sort of like this. You want to role play with me?
Sure.
And let's say that I called you and you agreed to me that you're going to talk for 2 to 3 minutes. And so I tell you, well, John, thanks for letting me. So I'll be brief to the point. Our company is Team Real World.
Okay.
And as I mentioned to you, we do leadership training, management training. We do corporate training. We do consulting and computer training.
Okay.
Do you have any particular, anything I said that you might be interested that we might be able to talk about?
Well, I know I was just in a meeting when we talked about a number of our people needing to get more up to speed in Microsoft Excel.
Okay, perfect. About how many folks? About how many folks do you have?
Well, if you count it, sort of everybody in the loop, there's maybe 75.
75. Well, how about this, John? Would it be okay, as I mentioned to you, if we could talk about it? Okay, because
Yeah.
I really promised you it would only be about a couple minutes. What if we meet sometime next week, and I'm even willing to look at the week after that, for about 30, 40 minutes. Let me know your needs, what you're looking for in Excel, and see if we may be a good fit for you. How about March the 4th? I think that's the Tuesday 2 weeks from now. How does that look for you?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, perfect. I'm open to 10 o'clock, or actually, better yet, 10:30 would be better for me if we can do like from 10:30 to 11:15.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. Well, great. That'd be good. And I have your address. Let me confirm with you, and I would tell you my address. Then I'll say, John, here's what would happen at the meeting. What I want to know is primarily what are your needs, and then what kind of timeline are you want to do this, and find a little bit more about what kind of budget you have for this, and see, because we want to stay within your budget, and then how you guys make decisions like this, whether you're the one involved or who else would need to be involved, and then what are the next steps that we would want to see happen, okay? I think we can cover that in about 30, 45 minutes. Is that okay if we talk about those things?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And listen, if we're not a good fit, I think we'll both be able to say, I'll get out of your hair.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Yeah.
And in the meantime, let me send you some information. Take a look at it, and we'll see you on Tuesday at 10:30. I have your address, and I'll send you an Outlook invite.
Okay, very good.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, that was a role play of a what we train sales reps to learn how to do all the time.
Yeah.
Early up front, negotiated agreement to have a 2 to 3 minute conversation. Negotiated agreement that in that 2 to 3 minute conversation, we're going to be talking about the next meeting.
Yes.
Man, time just flies, John.
I know.
Here's the negotiated agreement that we're supposed to stay within 60 minutes.
That's right.
This is tough.
Yeah.
You know what? Popular demand says that we need to do a part 3 of sales.
All right.
Come back to us. You have been listening to a show with thank you for joining us, guys. This has been Team Real World on Talk 107.3 FM.
WBRP.